first live-action Transformers film was released on July 3rd, 2007, directed by the Master of Mayhem, Michael Bay. Starring Shia LaBeouf, who plays Sam Witwicky in the film, a character that discovers an alien race of transforming robots who are on the hunt for the Allspark. Also starring Megan Fox as Michaela Baines, who plays the love interest of Sam Witwicky, and embarks on the world-changing adventure with him. The film has a stacked cast including John Turturro, Josh Duhamel, Tyrese Gibson, and Jon Voight. But the biggest star of them all, arguably, is Peter Cullen, who reprises his role as the iconic leader of the Autobots, Optimus Prime. He is the only actor from the original TV series from the 80s to return.
My name is Optimus Prime.
Transformers is a groundbreaking film. Watching it at a young age really shaped me into the person I am today. This film embodies the magic of cinema in my opinion, and is the ultimate summer flick. This is a deep dive into the creation of my favorite film of all time. Transformers started as a toy line and TV series from 1984, produced by Hasbro. The series focused on the conflict between the Autobots led by Optimus Prime and the Decepticons led by Megatron. Transformers became one of the best-selling toys of all time and is a major staple of the 1980s. Fast forward to the mid-2000s, and Hasbro has begun to develop a live-action Transformers film with Steven Spielberg, who is arguably the greatest film director of all time, attached as executive producer. It was Steven Spielberg who pitched the idea to Michael Bay to direct the movie.
Steven Spielberg called me right when I was finishing The Island, and he said, "I'd like to do Transformers," and I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'll think about it." Hung up. I'm not doing that movie. That's what I said to myself. I'm not doing a toy movie. I thought about it, and I went to Hasbro in Rhode Island, and they put me through Transformers school. Something in Transformers just struck me when I was sitting there. I said to myself, if you can make this really real and edgy, and I saw a couple images that were towards the direction they would like to take this, and I'm like, that's really interesting. So I think right then and there, I was kind of sold on trying to make this idea work.
Michael Bay was born to direct Transformers. He was the perfect fit for this concept.
Once Michael Bay was officially attached to direct, he had the potential to create whatever type of film he truly wanted to make. Bay aimed towards an edgier and more realistic approach to the Transformers, taking the designs of some of the original characters and totally revamping them. For example, taking Optimus Prime from a flat-nosed red and blue truck into a Peterbilt with flames. Also taking Bumblebee from a Volkswagen Beetle to a Camaro. A few of the designs of the characters got leaked online before the film came out, and Bay was heavily criticized at first.
You could keep nothing secret of this movie. And the designs started getting out on the internet. And people were saying, "Oh, Michael Bay, you wrecked my childhood. Damn you, Michael Bay." I think a lot of fans hated me for it at first. After I read some of the posts that said they wanted to protest out of my office, they actually picked the wrong office because I moved. They didn't know my real address. So, and then the few little talkbacks where they said they want to hunt me down and kill me, I had a couple of those. But generally, I would take some of the constructive criticism of stuff they saw. I actually changed Megatron's face when they opposed it that much.
Bay seemed to win the fans over when he released the first teaser trailer for the film, and the fact that he brought back Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime was a nice nod to the fans as well.
So all of a sudden they see the headpiece. And they're like, oh, wow, okay, that's starting to look really cool. Peter Cullen did the original voice, and still has a great voice. And then this one, give it a little bit more of a, the easy Ironhide. You know what I mean?
When Peter Cullen was announced as the voice of Optimus, I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was awesome, and I thought it was the most unexpected little nod to the fans, and I think it showed a respect for how much that voice defined the character.
Honestly, I can't even imagine anyone else voicing Optimus Prime. Peter Cullen's voice truly embodies the character and has the heroism and gentility that it takes to be a leader. The first draft of the script was deemed way too kiddie by Michael Bay, so he hired Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman to rewrite the script. The script we got involved the Autobots and the Decepticons on the hunt for the Allspark, a cube that in the film is described to have been around before time began. The cube is capable of creating life and is how the race of Transformers were created. The Decepticons want the Allspark to transform Earth's technology and build a new army. In the film, the Allspark crash landed on Earth many years ago, and our story begins. Steven Spielberg suggested the story should be about a boy and his car, and also was the one who suggested Shia LaBeouf as Sam Witwicky to Michael Bay. Shia was known for roles such as Louis Stevens from the hit TV series Even Stevens, and also played Stanley in the film Holes.
First I was like, wow, they're making a Transformers movie. It's insane, you know? They're gonna mess that up completely. They're gonna screw that up so bad. But when I first sat down with Mike, it was never the discussion of, let's talk about the robots. The first thing he wanted to talk about was, how do we make this real? How do we make these characters come across as honest?
Shia has a very relatable aspect to him, and Michael Bay was actually surprised by how good Shia was at improv.
What I like about Shia is he's the everyday dude, but he's great at improv, and he's got a great comic wit.
Nice, right? It fits me.
Michael compared Shia to the equivalent of capturing lightning in a bottle.
Shia was brilliant. It's like lightning in a bottle, and you're not going to find a kid like that again.
Megan Fox was also casted in the film as Michaela Baines, and she was relatively unknown and really broke into the scene with Transformers.
I don't know, I just liked her look. I liked that no one really knew about her. I think Shia helped her out. I think that energy between them, I think it kind of works.
A lot of the heart of the film comes from the relationship between Sam and Michaela and the concept that they're discovering an alien race together. Kevin Dunn and Julie White were cast as the parents of Sam, Ron and Judy Witwicky. Josh Duhamel and Tyrese Gibson were also casted as Captain Lennox and Sergeant Epps. John Turturro plays Agent Simmons, an agent of Sector 7, a top secret agency who has knowledge of the Transformers. The film relied heavily on comedic relief, which is part of the charm of the movie. We have Bernie Mac, who has a small role playing Bobby Bolivia, the car salesman who sells Sam his first car, which turns out to be Bumblebee. I absolutely love this scene in the film. I think it's a nice way to show early on that the movie will have a nice blend of action and humor.
Hey, mammy! Oh, don't be like that. If I had a rock, I'll bust your head, bitch. Say, man, she deaf, you know? Well, over here.
Now, some people criticize Michael Bay for his sense of humor, but in reality, he's just letting the actors improvise their lines and rolling with it. I personally find a lot of the humor in the film to work.
Judy.
Was I No, Mom!
It's okay.
No, I don't masturbate.
Not all of it, but for the most part, it does. The special effects in the film were absolutely revolutionary. Michael Bay and ILM really pushed the boundaries of what could be done in terms of CGI. One of the greatest aspects of Michael Bay as a filmmaker is that he tries to shoot practically as much as possible, meaning the only thing that is truly CGI are the robots. Everything else is filmed real. One of the key aspects to making the Transformers look so realistic was the lighting, and how the light bounces off of the different material.
Probably 2 years ago, we couldn't do this movie because of lighting and ray tracing, which is a way you light things.
We spend a lot of time getting the lighting right. It's very complicated to get
all the specularity.
Because I'm a lighting buff, you know, and especially shooting so many car commercials, I would give dissertations at ILM of like, okay, if you see a car, it's gonna have a hot spot, it's got flat here, it's got more hot spots, it's got a long highlight there, and it's very confusing when you look at it. It's not like just one soft light on the car. So they had to really invent how to light these things so complicated to make them look like they're moving, and it's like reflecting car parts in a real world.
We would have somebody on set recording the background, photographing every direction from wherever the motion picture camera had been sitting. So then when we come back to put our robot into that scene, we actually have that real reflection to put on our robot, Optimus Prime, for example. Now the observatory sequence is unusual because it is so bright and so reflective with a lot of bounce off the building from Griffith Observatory itself. You've got the sun, which is the key source, but you've also got all the attendant reflective light coming from those very bright stucco walls. So all that stuff has to be incorporated with the actual lighting of our robots, which therefore helps them look more real.
The arrival to Earth sequence in the film, where we get to meet all of the Autobots for the first time, was jaw-dropping. The animators really brought these characters to life. The lighting and all was executed perfectly. Seeing one full shot of the CGI Transformers going from their robot mode to their vehicle mode was also quite astonishing. The Transformers feel fully integrated with real life, and 13 years later, the special effects still hold up beautifully.
Everyone is just amazed at what they've done with the robots in terms of just how real it looks, how complicated it is.
When you finally achieve a look where it really looks real, that's it. That's the biggest excitement of the day.
There are definitely days when we go in and we review the shots and one comes up and you just say, whoa, you know, that's incredible. Like, it looks like a real Transformer.
That takes a high degree of artistry and technical support to make these things look that way.
Steve Jablonsky was the composer of the film. His musical score truly elevated the film and took it to the next level. It gave the film a truly epic and heroic vibe. Right from the start of the film, we get a beautiful piece of music with the track Autobots playing. This is a theme that is played throughout the film and is integrated into some of the other tracks in the film. Another highlight is the Arrival to Earth track. This is just simply perfect. It is single-handedly one of the greatest pieces of music I've ever heard in a film, period. Music can be the heart and soul of a film. It's a character within itself. It's a tool for storytelling. It helps shape the scenes and gives the film an identity. Everything else aside, the music in this film truly is masterful, and Steve Jablonsky is one of the greats, up there with Hans Zimmer, Danny Elfman, and John Williams. Linkin Park also contributed to the sound of the movie with their hit single, What I've Done. This song was subtly used in the film and was used perfectly at the ending of the film while Optimus Prime is giving his heroic speech. Transformers was met with huge success, making over $700 million worldwide off of a $147 million budget. The film's critical response was kind of mixed, somewhere in between, with critics' consensus being 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is just shy of being fresh, and the audience consensus being 85%, giving it a fresh score. Transformers was the fastest selling DVD the year it was released. There was also a movie tie-in game that was released as well. I loved this game when I was younger. I thought it was a blast, and I constantly just kept transforming in and out of robot mode because I was just blown away by the graphics at the time. A lot of the hardcore fans from the 80s obviously complained that the film was nothing like they had remembered, but a lot of the fans were just happy to see Transformers up on the big screen. This film brought in a bunch of new fans as well, myself included. Previous to this movie, I had never really watched Transformers, but this was the perfect introduction. Before this film came out, the Transformers brand was kind of dead. This film re-injected life into the franchise, a franchise which is still going strong till this day. I was 10 years old when Transformers was released. Unfortunately, I didn't see this film in theaters, but I rented it on demand as soon as I had the chance. I remember when the film was over, just being completely blown away and in awe. From that exact moment on, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to make movies. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before. Watching it at a young age really opened my mind up to what the possibilities of film could be. It sparked my imagination unlike anything had ever before. This film introduced me to Linkin Park as well, which I'm forever grateful for. They were an extremely influential part of my life growing up, and till this day remain my favorite band. This film inspired me to be creative and really shaped me into the person I am today. I aspire to be a filmmaker. I love creating videos. I love storytelling. My appreciation for this film is astronomical. But just like I've seen plenty of filmmakers say it was Star Wars that inspired them, it was Transformers that inspired me. And yes, I know Transformers has its issues. It's not a perfect movie, but it doesn't have to be. It's my favorite film because of its everlasting impact it had on me. This film keeps me a kid at heart, and to some it's just a movie, but to me it was always more. It was a spark.
I'll face my